We've seen a clear and upward trend of PRC coercion in the South China Sea, including efforts to exercise its expansive and unlawful maritime claims, infringing on the rights and freedoms of all states under international law, again, is reflected in the laws of the Sea Convention. Against South China Sea claimants, the PRC routinely harasses vessels lawfully operating in their respective EEZs. And in February, for example, the Chinese Coast Guard used a laser device against the crew of a Philippines Coast Guard vessel. And 2 months later, a China Coast Guard ship then blocked a Philippine patrol vessel with a group of journalists on board in the vicinity of 2nd Thomas Shoal. The United States again calls on the PRC to comply with the July 12, 2016 decision of the Arbitral Tribunal in the South China Sea arbitration and to cease its unlawful and provocative activities in the South China Sea. The PRC also continues to interfere with South China Sea states' exercise of their legal rights to natural resources in their EEZs and on their continental shelves. Just last month, the PRC survey vessel and several PRC Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels engaged in provocative and unsafe maneuvers for weeks inside Vietnam's EEZ, particularly in the waters around Vietnam's oil and gas installations. Under international law, coastal states have sovereign rights and jurisdiction over natural resources in their EEZs and on their continental shelves, and the PRC has yet to articulate a coherent lawful claim to this area. The PRC thus cannot lawfully interfere with Vietnam's exploration and recovery of natural resources in its own EEZ. The U.S. supports nations in standing up for their interests and resisting pressure to accept any deal whereby they would be compelled to yield those rights to any other country. I think, as everyone here has seen as well, the PRC also interferes with freedoms of overflight and other lawful uses of the sea. For example, PRC aircraft have increasingly engaged in unsafe intercepts of U.S. and other military aircraft in international airspace over the South China Sea. Just 1 month ago, a PRC jet fighter pilot performed an unprofessional and unsafe maneuver during an intercept of a U.S. Air Force aircraft that was conducting safe and routine operations over the South China Sea in international airspace. Another similar incident happened within days thereafter. A PRC vessel maneuvered in an unsafe manner, twice crossing within 150 yards of the bow of the USS Chung Hoon. We've called on Beijing to cease these unsafe maneuvers, which increase the risk of miscalculation. So in general, our policy is to support each and every country in exercising its own sovereignty and in pursuing its own national interests. We believe that all countries, large and small, should play by the same rules. Large countries should not bully smaller ones. Again, we think the alternative to this is a world in which the strong take advantage of the weak, and such a situation would put all of us at greater risk.